Yo, what's good, Joe? It's your man, the Bigga P, and here to share my thoughts on the tripleheader from last night. It was one hell of a card overall. Um, Very entertaining card. First opener was it was from Julian J. Rock Williams versus Nathaniel Gallimore. Now, prior to this fight, Gallimore was talking big shit, talking running off the mouth, calling him Jay Pebbles, calling the boxer free Pebbles, which is all good, I like a little pre-fight, a little pre-fight talk, braggadocio, if you will. I don't mind all that. And Gallimore, the last time I saw him was on a PBC card on Fox Sports One, where he brutally beat down Justin Deloach. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is a good step up for the young man. And then, of course, Julian J. Rock Williams, who's trying to get some footing after the KO loss to Charlo. But the last time I saw him out, which was in the Ishe Smith fight, he didn't look too good. I mean, most people would thought, okay, maybe Ishe because he's a veteran, he's a wily veteran, so that's why he probably was able to give J Rock the type of trouble that he gave him. Um, Even after that fight, I wasn't overly high on J Rock at this point. I was thinking to myself, although J Rock can box and he is mentally sound, I didn't know if his chin can actually hold up to Gallimore's shots. I was completely wrong about this fight. I'd say the first 6 rounds or so were pretty even. I mean, J Rock. J Rock. The jab was everything. He was out jabbing Gallimore, and then he looked like the sharper puncher. He was controlling. And then Gallimore, he made a little comeback. He was able to get inside, make it a little bit rough toward the end. But after the 6th round, I think J Rock just pulled away. I think that's where the seasoning showed between those two. Gallimore has power. He definitely has power, but what he didn't have was the experience or the skills to actually set up the shots he needed to actually land the type of shots. He was trying. The shots he was throwing, some of them were a little wild. The left hook he was trying to hit, he wasn't. He didn't. He was trying to throw and trying to land. He wasn't there. He was very telegraphed. And then afterwards, Gallimore got winded. He got tired. You could see that. And then J Rock was able to really pour it on the inside, which I was surprised. I didn't think J Rock would actually, try to take it to the trenches like that, particularly in the 11th round. J Rock had him all ready to go. In fact, it was a surprise to me that Gallimore didn't get stopped. He probably should have gotten stopped, for sure. And but he lasted. And in the 12th round, I was expecting J Rock to try to close the show, but J Rock unfortunately, by then he also gassed. So it was pretty anticlimactic to end to that fight. So J Rock, he won, and he won easy. I think I give him like 116, 112 on my card. And then there was that one ridiculous card. There was always that one ridiculous card. I think one of the judges scored it even, and I was just like, it's only in Vegas, and it's Patricia Jarman, who's notorious for all these wild cards that she's always scored in the past. Always that one, but at least the other two got it somewhat correctly. J Rock won the fight, so J Rock is now mandatory for the IBF title held by Jarrett Hurd. So that will be interesting to see. That fight will be definitely interesting to see how that will go. How that would go moving forward. Gallimore, like I said, he put up a good effort. He showed the chin because, like I said, that 11th round, most people would have went down from the assault that he took. But yeah, he just needs a little bit more work, a little bit more training in terms of actually trying to set up his punches, how to set up, to actually set up his power punches better because he has power and I can see it, but it was just like he wasn't landing. J Rock pretty much outboxed him and controlled the fight, and Gallimore couldn't adapt. So that's back to the drawing board. Second fight was a rematch. It was Caleb Truex, the IBF super middleweight champion, who versus James DeGale. I mean, the first fight was was probably the biggest upset of 2017, um, where Truex manages to catch a DeGale that's not that probably was not 100% or even ready to be ready to fight, and was able to take went to England and able to take the belt away. So this was his first title defense, and now in America, and now James DeGale beforehand was talking about, if he lost this fight, then this should be the end. This should be the end of there'll be the end of his career. He'll probably retire. Um, the fight itself was struggle to watch. I mean, there's no way to put it. It was just headbutts upon headbutts upon headbutts upon headbutts. I mean, literally, it was a bloodbath simply because of headbutts, because their heads kept on clashing. You have your left-handers and you have your left hands and your right-handers. That's what happens. I mean, DeGale was bleeding as early as round 3, and the ref actually ruled that as a punch, even though on replays it was a butt. So DeGale had to fight with a little bit more urgency than what he probably wanted to, but because clearly every round like that eye was just pouring, and then DeGale, Truex's eyes, he had cuts over both eyes, and like I said, and I was more disappointed in Truex performances than DeGale, because Truex, I thought, he came in there and you could see the pigeon fat over his trunks, he either the weight cut he didn't look like he did in the first fight. The first fight he looked sharp. He looked super sharp. He looked in shape, and he won the fight. And he probably could have repeated this fight. He could have repeated that win. The problem was, like I said, I don't think. I'm thinking maybe either training didn't go too well, or he just wasn't sharp, or he just got caught up in the hype of actually being champion. But he didn't. He was not sharp at all. He was moving forward. He put a lot of pressure on DeGale, but he wasn't landing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Except the headbutts are coming together. I think he landed maybe 2 good right hands, but nothing that I thought would bother DeGale. DeGale was the one that probably showed me at the first fight that there is a marked decline. And before, DeGale used to throw some combinations. He used to throw beautiful combinations, effective combinations. DeGale was throwing one punch at a time and holding, one punch at a time and holding, moving, spinning around, one punch, holding. It was frustrating because it was like, this wasn't the DeGale that I used to watch. Like, this is, there's a marked decline somewhere, but it was enough because, like I said, Truex wasn't landing anything of substance. He wasn't. Like I said, because it was just wrestling, and Truex could not adjust to it, and he was just flat. And that gave the fight to DeGale 114-113, and it was close, So I was thinking to myself, because although it was close, I was thinking it could be a situation where it was to say, hey, DeGale didn't do enough to win the title. 2 of the judges gave the fight to DeGale 114-113, my score. And then the other score, I think it was like 117, 110, something crazy like that. And I was like, I don't know how that judge actually saw that score. But DeGale ended up regaining his super middleweight title. And then they were talking that rematch stuff, and I'm like, if you wanted to sell a third rematch, obviously it's going to be in England. That's where they're going. DeGale won the title back, so that's going back to England. But but considering how much of a struggle fest that this fight was, a rematch would probably be a hard sell, certainly in America. It would probably be tough, but it would be a hard sell for anyone that actually want to watch it, especially in contrast to how good the first fight was. But yeah, I see more of a. But Truex, I was disappointed because he wasn't sharp, and if he was sharp, he could have repeated his win. But yeah, I don't think he wasn't in the type of condition that he probably needed to be to pull it off. But DeGale was in shape, but he just, like I said, there's certainly a marked decline in his abilities. And either if he faces like a Benavides or Uzcategui, I think Uzcategui is the interim champion IBF. I know that it's about time to merge those titles. Um, I don't think DeGale will have an easy night or even a win against any of those two fighters. Or even any of the other 168 champions. I mean, I do think DeGale is definitely on the slide, for sure. So I guess we'll see how that goes. And then the main event was a unification, a rare one at that, between Erislandy Lara, the WBA 154 champion, versus Jarrett Hurd, 154 champion for IBF. Um, Lara is Lara. I mean, we've all watched the Lara fight. Never the most entertaining fights to watch. I mean, every now and then, you'd have, you get something like his slugfest with Angulo, which he won by, which he stopped Angulo. First one to stop him, I believe. And then, you get what you get with him. He's your typical Cuban boxer. Rinse, repeat, jab, left hand, left uppercut. You get what you get with him. And then you get Hurd. Hurd is inexperienced as a champion. He's big. He's very big. He's big to the point where I just understand how he even makes 154. It's not like he just makes 154 to him. I mean, he's going down to like 153. I mean, he's making this way, which is I don't understand it. But I think what he's doing now it's effective because he makes his way. Because I think personally, I said this earlier. I think the weight the weight cut he does and the weight he does gain back. This is the reason why he's been having this success at 154. I mean, the Tony Harrison fight, he was losing to me. He was getting unboxed, but then Harrison has his cardio issues, and he faltered late in the fight and got stopped. Trout, another one. Trout had been pretty inactive. Trout was outboxing him pretty good in the first half, but got worn down by a lot of the movement. And in the latter half, Hurd came on and battered the guy to his first stoppage loss. So most people, I was thinking that this is the type of fight that would probably happen. Because, I mean, you saw the pictures, and you can see that Hurd has even at the weigh-in, Hurd has a clear size advantage over him. So I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be one of those fights. Hurd is going to probably rehydrate back up to light heavyweight size. And IBF has two weigh-ins, so there is a same-day weigh-in. But, I mean, the second weigh-in, he has to be within 10 pounds, and then after that, depending on when they do it, they can go rehydrate to whatever. And then you got what you get. And then it was crazy. Hurd looked absolutely big. I mean, he looked light heavyweight, cruiserweight size to me. And then Lara looked like he usually does. And the fight, though, was a classic. And it was a classic way. I mean, Lara was pretty much handling him with ease. Hurd kept the fight, but Hurd was just, countering it. Lara was countering him. The left hand was landing. Hurd was just doing. Hurd's chin is incredible, though. I mean, he was just. I mean, one of the things I was worried about is could Hurd actually absorb these shots? He absorbed them. Absorbed these shots round after round after round after round. Just absolutely, like, absorbing these left hands. And he was getting caught, too. I mean, Lara pretty much had the first half of the fight almost damn near won. I mean, he may have probably lost one round, but then, like I said, Hurd was doing good. I mean, Hurd started taking away Lara's legs by landing the left hook in the body and clutches, and just as he was coming forward in the ropes, and then taking these short hooks. I mean, Lara, to my surprise, stood in the pocket with this man, this bigger man, and was actually trying. This is like reminiscent of his fight with the Punisher. He stood in the pocket with him and hit him with left hands over and over again, but it just wasn't affecting Hurd. And Hurd started coming on. He started, he do some swelling in Lara's eye. The short shot. And these are arm punches too. But the arm punches were like snapping Lara's head back, and then again the left hook to the body, and it was just scribbling. I mean, just even the exchange. I mean, Lara would have probably done well to get on his bike a little bit, but he just stood in the pocket and he fought. He tried to fight his way, to victory. The 12th round though was an absolute classic. I mean, Lara went for broke. I mean, the fight was so close, and then Hurd, unfortunately, would seal the win by by landing a left hook that knocked Lara all but down and almost out. And it was, I mean, Lara was like, I remember I was screaming at my team, was like, Lara, you gotta kill the clock. And not if you can hear me, you gotta kill the clock. And then Lara got up and said it, and he didn't even go on his bike. He just went. He tried to, he tried to fight his way back there. Um, I was just like, I was just all when that bell rang. Man, it's very rare that a Lara fight makes me actually feel that way, but it was just absolutely something. It was, I gave the fight to Lara by 115, what's it, 115, no, excuse me, 114, 113. And then it was like split decision. I was like, okay, this is going to be something else. And one of the judges saw it my way, but the other judges saw it 114, 113 to Hurd. So Hurd won the fight, very narrow split decision, and now he's the unified WBA IBF champion. Great fight. Lara absorbed a lot of punishment. A lot of punishment. I would say Lara is finished, but Lara, some mileage accumulated on him for sure. Lara probably needs a good rest and a really good rest going forward. And I know they were talking about rematch, and I don't think if a rematch is done, if a rematch is done, I do think Hurd will probably knock Lara out this time, and that will be the end. So now, I mean, but Lara has nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, he put on an absolutely brilliant performance. I mean, he went out like a champion. That's for damn sure. Hurd is someone I just, like I said, the guy and his weight and the size. I just don't understand how he does it. I mean, but he's going to be a motherfucker to deal with, going forward now. And now I think they're trying to make a fight with Jamel Charlo, which would be an excellent fight, which would be an excellent unification. Something, a 3-title unification. I mean, that hasn't happened since since the days of Winky Wright. So I would definitely love to see that fight. And I don't know if that fight, I mean, but Hurd, I mean, I can't tell with Hurd. I mean, Hurd took a lot of left hands. And, he had a little swelling around his eyes. I just don't know what to actually do, how long it takes to really, I mean, he needs to recover from the fight, obviously. But it's just one of those, things. I can't tell Hurd's recovery, what he is, because, I mean, he wasn't, he got hit, he got staggered, but he wasn't, like, really hurt by any of these left hands. He just walked through them. So I guess you could probably save this fight. Maybe you could try to make this in the fall, make that unification, and that would provided that Jamel actually gets by. I guess they're saying that he's facing Trout, which I don't understand why Trout is being circling through the 154 champions like he has been, through the last couple of years, but it is what it is, I guess. So but that fight was. That was an absolute fight of the year contender. I mean, that might actually be the best fight of the year so far. So I mean, we'll see if any other fight will top that. But yep. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the card. So until next time, peace.